Hola, mi llamo John. I'm going to now talk in English, but hopefully there'll be captions appear down here where you can read it in Spanish. I work for the University of St Andrews in Scotland. I'll be working with Ronald from the Costa Rican Museum, and we are part of the CCC project, and we are hoping to make 4 videos for yourselves, one for each of the communities highlighting your project, and one overall documentary that will look at promoting and showing everyone what you've been doing. The reason we're doing video tutorials, obviously, is because of COVID-19. The original plan was for me to come out, sit with you, do workshops, show you how to operate the camera, how to conduct interviews. Unfortunately, we can't travel, so I have to do it this way. Hopefully, as I am talking and showing you these tutorials, I will remember to pause so that you have time to read the captions and then look at what I'm actually pointing to or pressing or doing. If I forget, I do apologise, but you can watch these over and over again to get it right. Now, the object of this is not for me to tell you what to do, but how to do it. The idea of the projects, the story you want to tell, will be up to you. It will be for you to decide what story you want to say, what information you want to impart, how you want it to look. The do's and don'ts of documentary filmmaking. Now, I have some notes here, so I will be looking up and down. First of all, who do you want your documentary to be aimed at? Who's your audience? Who will be watching it? What type of documentary are you going to make? Is it educational? Is it promotional? So the first question answers the second question. For instance, if it was for tourists, you would want to make it look fantastic. You would want Baruka to look amazing. So you would always shoot in the sun. You would always make sure that everything looked pristine. If it's for education, you want it to be just basic, simple, get to the point, make sure they're learning what you want them to learn. So I'll have these listed here. I'll go through these 9 points with you. And you can read them off, and hopefully in Spanish. I'll put them up the right ones. So, point 1, who's your documentary for? Point 2, sound. Sound is so important. I can't stress enough how key good sound is to a good documentary. You can have the best images in the world, you can have fantastic video, bad sound ruins it. So you'll notice I'm wearing a small microphone here. Very, very cheap, available from Amazon, Alibaba, plugged into an iPhone 6, just using voice memo. The key is to practice with this. Make sure you have it in the right location so it's not picking up every single little noise you make, but it is collecting all of your voice. When conducting interviews, it's very important that you not only use the sound from the camera, but you have sound through a microphone and perhaps another iPhone just recording generally. 3 sources of sound are perfect for an editor. If a car drives past, or a motorbike, or a cockerel crows at the wrong moment when you're interviewing someone, and they always do, this way we can use the microphone sound, which might not pick up all of it, the iPhone sound and the camera sound, mix them together and get exactly what it was the interviewee was trying to say. So it's really important that you have good sound, but we'll do a whole tutorial on that. Now, what questions do you want to answer in the documentary? What do you want to say? What's your story going to be about? That's for you to decide. Okay, you can come up, you can sit down, you can plan. I'm going to do an example of Dave, this guy here. Hi Dave, how's it going? Now, Dave had a fantastic idea of a community bakery. So, fabulously good looking John here. How's it going? The interviewer, we're going to do an example of John interviewing Dave and look through the questions and how the story develops. So don't be scared if you have your story all mapped out and it suddenly changes after an interview. That's perfectly fine. Do not stick rigidly to what you had in mind. As soon as you interview somebody, they may throw your story off in a different direction. It might not, it might all work out great, but just be prepared to adapt and be flexible. Now, a good documentary always has conflict. Now, I'm not talking about kids fighting in the playground or adults arguing about what shovel to use. Conflict can be something simple as success versus failures. What successes were you hoping for? What failures did you have? What problems did you have? How did you solve these problems? Conflict engages the audience. It grabs their attention. So that would be questions that you would need to look at in your interviews. We'll run through all that. Now, you need a good story, okay? You've seen yourself documentaries probably in school when you were younger or just recently where you're falling asleep after 5 minutes. You need to engage the audience. That's my job as an editor, is to take your film, your audio and your pictures and put it together to make it engaging. So you need to think about the story. I will be thinking about it as an editor. And now this is the direction I'll be coming to my tutorials from, is from an editor's point of view. What do I need from you guys on the scene to be able to put together a good documentary that tells your story? Now, don't try and play it safe. Don't try and make something that is easy or soft. Go out there, do something a little bit different if you want to. Your story might not make that happen, but try and think a little bit outside the box, you know. Why is this story important? Why does it need to be told? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to preserve community knowledge? Are you trying to preserve the the community lives? It's all up to you. So you've got to decide what you want to do and how you're going to do it. What emotion do you want from the audience? That's another thing to think about. What are you trying to invoke from the audience? Do you want them to feel sympathy? Do you want them to feel happy? Do you want to feel engaged? Do you want them to feel angry if it was a political statement you were making? That's another thing to think about. You also need to think about a one-line pitch, a summary of your video that you will put out there on social media, posters to engage the community, whoever it's for, to catch their attention. For instance, local bakery ends poverty in community. Something like that, you know. So that's it for the do's and don'ts. There'll be a whole list of tutorials, one on camera operation, how to operate the camera that we'll give, sound, how important sound is, story as well, how to construct a storyboard so you know kind of roughly where you're going. Interview techniques, we might wrap that in with sound. Interview techniques might be all worth doing, but it depends because sound is so important. There'll be one on lighting and background. There'll be one on preparation of your interview, of your scenes, and how much film and audio to take. So hopefully I've covered most of the things I want to here. I'll probably edit it. The next one will probably be about camera operation, and then we'll move on to sound. These are the two main things that you need to know. Now, you are probably very well versed in all of this already, some of the work you've been doing in the community. But this is important that I run through this with you, especially for the camera, and from an editor's point of view of how important and key it is to make a good video so that we can produce the best quality and the best looking thing for your story. Okay. If there's any questions, you can ask Ronald. He'll relay them to me and I'll get back to you through Ronald via email. Okay. Thanks very much and we'll see you next time.